And a man that is clean shall gather the ashes of the heifer and lay them without the camp in a clean place, and it shall be kept for assembly to the children of Israel, for water sprinkling and purification from sin. And he that gathers the ashes of the heifer shall wash his clothes and be unclean until evening, and it shall be unto the children of Israel, unto the stranger that sojourns among them for a statute forever. He that touches the dead, even any man's dead body, shall be unclean 7 days. The same shall purify himself there without 3 days, in the seventh day, and shall be clean. But if he purify not himself the third day, and the seventh day, he shall not be clean. Whosoever touches the dead, even the body of a man that is dead, and purifies not himself, he shall be defiled of the tabernacle of the Most High, that his soul shall be cut off from Israel, because the water of the sprinkling was not dashed against him. He shall be unclean. His uncleanness is not yet upon him. This is the Torah when a man dies in the tent. Everyone that comes into the tent, everything that is in the tent, shall be unclean 7 days. And every open vessel which has no covering shall bind upon it, it is unclean. And whosoever is open field touches one that is slain with a sword, or one that dies himself, or a bone of a man, or a grave, shall be unclean 7 days. And for the unclean, they shall take up ashes of the burning for purification for sin, and run the water shall be put there throughout in his vessel. And the cleaning person shall take hyssop and dip in the water and sprinkle it upon the tent, and upon all vessels, and upon the person that was there, upon him that touched the bone, or slain, or dead, or the grave. And the clean person shall sprinkle upon the unclean on the third day, and on the seventh day, on the seventh day, and on the seventh day he shall purify him, and shall wash his clothes and bathe himself in water, and shall be clean until evening. But the man that shall be unclean and shall not purify himself, the soul shall be cut off from the midst of the assembly, because he defiled the sanctuary of the Most High. The water of sprinkling has not been dashed upon him; he is unclean, and it shall be preparatory statute upon him. And that sprinkles the water of sprinkling shall wash his clothes. And he that touches the water of sprinkling shall be unclean until evening. And whosoever the unclean person touches shall be unclean, and the soul touching him shall be unclean until evening.
Hallelujah. So that's the beginning of our Torah portion, and it was dealing with the red heifer. I know there's a lot of information out there probably on the red heifer. I wasn't able to get the information that I wanted in enough time. I know some brothers out here who can go really deep into the red heifer and the significance of it. But I didn't have a chance to go to get that. Not to give an excuse, but just letting you know what happened. Let's go to the next slide, please. Bamidbar 20, the death of contumacy and the rise of Eliezer. Contumacy is defined as stubbornness, unyielding obstinacy, and inflexibility. In verse 1, there's a person who dies whose name means contumacy, or unyielding obstinacy, inflexibility. Sometimes we'll say rebellion, sometimes we'll say the name means bitter. But if you look into the Gesenius Hebrew Chaldee lexicon, it explains that her name, Miriam, means contumacy, which is a word I've never heard of before. So that's why I'm putting up the definition of it. I'm not sure if anybody else has. And we're going to talk about the rise of Eleazar or Eliezer. Let's read verse 1, please.
Of 19?
Of 20.
And the children of Israel, even the whole assembly, came into the wilderness of Sin into the first month, and the people abided in Kadesh, and Miriam died there and was buried there. 2.
Next verse, please.
And there was no water for the assembly, and they assembled themselves together against Moshe and against Aaron. And the people strove with Moshe and spoke, saying, Would thou have perished with our brothers perished before the Most High? And why had I brought the assembly of the Most High to the wilderness to die there, we and our cattle? And wherefore have you made us to come up to the isle of Egypt to bring us into this evil place? And there is no place of seed, or of figs, or of vines, or of pomegranates, neither is any water to drink. And Moshe and Aaron went from the precincts of the assembly upon the door of the tent of meeting, and fell upon their faces, and the glory of the Most High appeared upon them. And the Most High spoke to Moshe, saying, Take the rod, and assemble the assembly you and Aaron your brother, and speak unto the rock before your eyes, that it give forth water. You shall bring to them to water the rock. You shall give the assembly and their cattle drink. And Moses took the rod from before the Most High, and he commanded him. And Moses and Aaron gathered the assembly together before the rock, and he said upon them, Hear now, you rebels, and we to bring the forth for water the rock. And Moshe bring up his hand and smote the rock with the rod twice, and the water came forth abundantly, and the assembly drank and their cattle. And the Most High said unto Moshe and Aaron, Because you believe not in me, to sanctify me in the eyes of the children of Israel, therefore you should not bring the assembly to the land which I gave it to them. These are the words.
Let's stop here. Now this has to be some of the saddest scriptures in the Torah. You got a man who delivered his relatives. He got to see a lot of his relatives die. The Levites who were killed in Exodus, I think it's 32 or Shemot 32. And the Levites had to kill their own family members. So you got a people dealing with trauma that he had to lead. You got a people that the Most High wanted to kill. And he defended our ancestors and said, no, you got to remember the covenant you made with Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. Now you're dealing with a man who has went to Pharaoh on a number of occasions and talked with Pharaoh face to face, dealing with a system that he used to be a part of, but now he's going against. You got a man who led Israel through the wilderness, who led them through the Red Sea, and now, after almost 40 years, you hear from the Most High that the people that you brought out this land, you won't be able to go in with them. The people that you defended, you won't be able to go in with them. Because you allowed these people to frustrate you to the point to when I tell you to speak to a rock so that it can bring forth water, you're so frustrated with these people that you decided to take your staff and hit the rock twice as opposed to just speaking to the rock. We got to be very, very careful, even with the people of the Most High, even with Israel, where they frustrate us to a point to where we disobey the Most High because of our frustrations with them, because we want to satisfy them, and we disobey the Most High and not make it into what the Most High has for us. Now the Most High has everything in his hand. He has everything in his control. He doesn't want to hold back from us. But if we can't hear his voice, if we can't hear what he's saying to us because of the frustrating things that other people do around us, we're going to come to the same conclusion that Moses came to. Leading all these people that you fought for and allowing them to frustrate you to a point of disobedience. This has to be the saddest, some of the saddest scriptures. I'm pretty sure at this point, he thought that he was going to be in the promised land. He thought he was going in with everybody else, but he allowed the murmurings of people to disturb him obeying the Most High. It's very, very unfortunate. And we have to use his example as a lesson for us, for those of us who are in transition from the Babylonian system, from the Egyptian system, trying to come into our own promised land, that we not allow the frustrations of other people to prevent us from coming into what the Most High wants to bring us into. So we just got to continue to walk. And again, we got to make time for the Most High. We have to spend time with the Most High. We have to spend time in his Torah. We have to talk about the Torah more. We got to feel comfortable with talking about the Torah with people who don't talk about the Torah. We have to stay away from shifting our conversation because certain people come around. Now you want to talk about something different because you know they're not on what you want. We got to feel comfortable with talking to complete strangers we have don't have any clue about what we're about our lifestyle. Because if we're not going to be a light, who's going to be the light? I'm talking to me. And because we just have to be more comfortable in what the Most High has called us. But, you know, we used to pray more. We used to fast more. We had a prayer life that nobody can touch. But then all of a sudden, we kind of soften those areas of our lives to now we allow people to encroach on that time that we used to spend with the Most High. And we have to get back to that in order for us to make it to where we're going to make it to. Because it's a lot of things we're going to have to go through from now until then. As you see the recent events that happened to us. It's going to continue to happen. But in the meantime, we're going to have to know the voice of the Most High. That's going to be our most important asset, is knowing the voice of the Most High. Next verse, please.
Verse 13. These are the words of Mivrah, with children of Israel strove with the Most High, and he sanctified them. And Moshe sent messengers from Kadesh unto the king of Edom. Thus says your brother Israel, you know all the travail that has befallen us. How our fathers went down to Egypt, and we dwelt in Egypt a long time, and that the Egyptians dealt ill with us and our fathers. And we cried unto the Most High, he heard our voice, and sent an angel, and brought us forth out of Egypt. And behold, we are in Kadesh, a city of utmost of the border. Let us pass, I pray, through your land, and we not pass through the field, through your vineyard. Neither will you drink of the water of the wells. We will go along the king's highway, but will not turn aside to the right hand nor the left, until ye have passed your border. And Edom said unto them, you shall not pass through me, lest I come out with the sword against you. And the children of Israel said unto them, we will go up by the highway, and if you drink of the water, and I and my cattle, then we give you the price therefor. Let me only pass through our feet, there is no hurt. He said, you shall not pass through. And Edom came out against it with much people and with a strong hand. Thus Edom refused to give Israel passage through the border. Wherefore Israel turned away from them. And they journeyed.
So not only did Moses not just find out that he wasn't going to be able to make it to the promised land, they trying to get to the promised land, and their own brother, the Hebrew Edomites, would not let them pass through. So I'm just trying to put you in the mindset of what Moshe is actually experiencing right now. You just heard some bad news. Okay, you're not gonna make it in the land because you disobeyed. Now I can't even get to the land the way I want to go. The easiest way, the fastest way, through the south, right beneath the Dead Sea, through the kingdom of Edom. Because my own brother, he brought up all the issues they went through. He said, you saw what happened to us in the wood. You saw what happened to us as slaves, and we got brought out. And he gave this long story to the Edomites. And they said, no, you're not passing through here. We got to realize that we got to be for ourselves. And a lot of people are not going to be for us. Even if they are our own family. It's a saying that says, foes shall be those of your own household. And unfortunately, that we experience as Israelites, we experience a lot of that. So we have to continue to depend on the Most High for everything. And I like what Ackh was saying earlier today about blaming ourselves for certain issues. Instead of pointing our finger out, point it towards ourselves. And I've always been a person, I can't say I always, but recently I've been a person who I would look to myself for any issues that came to my life. I would blame me first. And I believe if Moses would have spoke to that rock like he was told to, he probably wouldn't have had the issue with the Edomites. But the Most High, and the way that he works, he uses other people to prevent static in your life so you can have your growth. Next verse, please. Hallelujah.
Thus Edom refused to give Israel passage through the border. Wherefore Israel turned away from him. And they journeyed from Kadesh, and the children of Israel, even the whole assembly, came into the Mount Hor. And the Most High spoke to Moses and Aaron in the Mount Hor by the border of the land of Edom, saying, Aaron shall be gathered upon his people, for you shall not enter into the land which I have given to the children of Israel, because you rebelled against my word of the waters of Mizrah. Take Aaron and Eleazar, his son, and bring them unto the Mount Hor, and strip Aaron of his garments, and put them upon Eleazar his son. And Aaron shall be gathered unto the people, and you shall die there. And Moses did as the Most High commanded, and he went to Mount Hor in the sight of the assembly. And Moses stripped Aaron of his garments, and put them on Eleazar his son. And Aaron died there on the top of the mount, and Moshe and Eleazar came down from the mount. And when all the assembly saw Aaron was dead, they wept for Aaron 30 days, even in the house of Israel.
I mean, it's amazing. Now, I know my birth date, but it'll be something else if I knew my death date. Eleazar knew when he was going to die. Can you imagine knowing when you're going to die and the Most High telling you that you're going to die because of your disobedience right before you go into this land? That's a hard pill to swallow. That's a hard pill to swallow. So we got to look at the example of our ancestors and the names. We got to look at the names. We started off in verse 1 with who died in verse 1? Miriam. What does her name mean? It means contumacy. It means rebellion. So what is this chapter trying to tell us? Contumacy, rebellion, obstinacy, all these things have to die within us in order for us to make it in. Now, who took over Aaron's place? Eleazar. What does Eleazar mean? God is my help. All the issues that Moshe went through, he shouldn't have got frustrated at the people. He should have went back to the Most High, like he did many times before, and talked to have his frustrations out with the Most High. He had that type of relationship where he can go to the Most High with personal issues and was able to get those things solved. So he had to realize that the Most High was his aid. The Most High was for him. So when we go through issues, we have to go to who about it? The Most High. Yahweh. We have to go to him with our issues. Because dealing with people will cause frustration. It will cause strife. It will cause stress. Not you stress, but the bad stress. It will cause stress where you're looking like you aging, where you're looking like you're losing weight. Just from dealing with people. I know myself. How many people have taken a personality test? 2, 3, 4. Okay. On the personality test, they always seem to ask this one question. When you're surrounded by a group of people, do you have more energy or less energy? And I'm the person, when I'm surrounded by a lot of people, I have less energy. It drains me. I'm tired. When I'm by myself, I'm full of energy. But for whatever reason, when I'm surrounded by people, particularly people who are not Israelites, my energy is zapped in no time. And I just want to leave. And so I see that some of y'all understand where I'm coming from about how energy works dealing with other people. Now you got people that you living amongst that you got to deal with, that Moses had to get, his father-in-law had to tell him, you stretching yourself out. You need help. You need help. And we need help. And who is our help? What does Eleazar mean? God is my help. And that's the help he needed. And we got to take the wisdom of other people. Now the Midianite, Jethro was a Midianite. He wasn't an Israelite. He might have been of Abraham, but he wasn't an Israelite. He took the wisdom of somebody who was outside of Israel, that was still connected to Israel, and used it for his own benefit and for the benefit of the community. So we can't be so strict on shutting out the wisdom that is out there, because there is wisdom out there that's not in Israel that we can use for Israel's benefit. So we can't be so foolish to lock ourselves down thinking that everything has to come from Israel specifically. But if it's something that can benefit everybody, we should do it. As a community, we should do it. Next slide, please. Stubbornness is also determination. It is a matter of shifting from want power to willpower. Now, a lot of us are stuck in want power. We quick to tell people what we won't do. But how many times have you told people what you will do? See, a lot of us are just stuck in that area. We have to develop the energy to be able to do what the Most High has called us to do. Next slide, please. And we got to stay away from what I call the 21 mentality.
Yeah.
As a child, as a teenager, I played a lot of basketball. That was one summer, I played so much basketball, I lost 50 pounds in one summer. Literally. The same summer I became pescatarian, I was playing basketball. We'll play 5-10 games. We'll go drive to another place to play basketball. We'll play in our neighborhood, and we played. And this was something that always baffled me. We have a game called, for those who aren't familiar, 21. 21 is a game where you got individual people going against other individual people, and there might be in excess of 5, 10, 15 people playing this game, and it's all about the person who has the ball. Everybody else is defending you, everybody else is going against you, and you got to fight all your brothers just to get to the rim when you got 10 people you playing with. Now, what I didn't understand was when I would play basketball with my Hispanic friends, when I would play with my Asian friends, when I would play with my white friends, if they had 10 people, they were not playing 21. They were playing team ball. They were actually waiting on people to come so they could play team ball. But with us, I always would see us play 21. We'll have 13 people, 15 people, 20 people playing 21 when we can easily run 2 games of two separate teams of five apiece. But this mentality is not only in our sports, this is how we operate as a people. We operate on this individual basis where we just got the ball, and you believe, I was having this conversation with my Isha earlier, you believe you got haters and you talking about your haters. What you focus on, you attract. If you're a man talking about your haters, you're going to attract people that hate you just by you speaking about it. Most men don't speak about haters, but certain individuals talks about haters, but when you speak of these things, you bring these things upon yourself. If you were to do NASCAR driving, they train you, if you're right before you're about to crash, to not look at the wall before you crash into it. Because they know what you look at, that's where you're going to go. Most accidents are caused because people are staring in a direction they don't want to go in. So they literally have to push your head to the side so you won't crash into the wall while they're in the car training you. Because we have developed this thing where whatever we don't want to do, we stare at it, and we just continue to stare at it and allow this problem to come to us when we could just turn the other way. We have to learn how to avoid certain situations by just simply ignoring it. I'm not a big communicator. I don't talk a lot because I just don't have that type of energy to speak a lot. It's just certain things I don't want to be involved in. There's certain things I don't even want to hear about. I used to be a sports, Nasi talked about it earlier, a sports fanatic, until I think it was maybe like 4 or 5 years ago, the Falcons had lost a playoff game, and I literally felt hurt. I felt like I just got out of a long-term relationship and the woman I was with cheated on. That's exactly how I felt. And I said, I don't even know them personally. Why am I hurt over some people that's on a TV screen that I don't even know them? But they able to reach through that TV screen and just break my heart all of a sudden because they lose a game. So I told myself, you know what? I'm not watching football. I'm not watching any sports to the point where I'm that attached to it, where somebody lose, it affects my day. It affects how I treat people. It affects how I feel. That's dangerous. I was having a good day up until that point, and I literally felt hurt. I didn't want to eat. I didn't want to talk to anybody, and I couldn't believe I felt like this. Like I really got my heart broke from a football team. Waste of time, and I played football. I like football, but if it's going to cause that to happen to me, I don't want anything to deal with it. So if it's not of Yah, I try not. I don't give it my energy. You know, so if I don't involve myself in certain conversations, it's because I want to focus on Yah. I don't want to talk about sports. I want to talk about us as a community. I want to talk about us coming together. I want to talk about these serious issues that we deal with. But sports, I'll play it, but I don't want to talk about it. We got too much stuff going on to be focused on that. We got too many issues that we have within our community, within ourselves, that needs to be dealt with, that we're overlooking because of sports. I'm not saying you shouldn't watch sports. I'm just saying I don't have the energy to go on hours and hours of conversation about who's better than who. Now you got the 21 mentality versus tribal cognizance. Whenever I see a black person, I would wish that whenever I see somebody who's Hebrew, that you should just be happy because they're Hebrew. Right. Just because they're Hebrew. Just because they're Israel, we should be happy to see one another, whether we woke up or not. Yeah. But when we go around frowning at one another, not valuing each other, it just shows you a reflection of yourself. I was told by a pastor's wife, and this pastor, he's on television regularly, and I had a conversation with her, and she asked me. Now they have a mixed congregation, and they do keep the Torah, and she asked me. She saw me with the RBG regalia on, and she asked me. She said, "Are you pro-black?" Now she's black. I thought that was the most foolish question you can ask a black person in your life. Are they pro-black? That's just like asking a human, are you pro-human? And these questions don't come up with any other nationality, if you want to call it that. You don't say pro-Chinese. Are you pro-Chinese? Are you pro-white? You know they're for themselves. So when she asked me, I said, of course I'm pro-black. Why wouldn't I be? The lady next to her told me, she's an older black lady, I just can't be around a lot of black people. Just can't be around a lot of black people. And I was disturbed when she said that. Because I remember having those same thoughts myself. I don't like being around a lot of black people. I need a mix. You know, I need some Hispanics, some Asians, some sprinkling, a little bit of white. Just a little bit, you know, a little salt. Not too much, high cholesterol. Diabetes. But we've had these thoughts about, yeah, I need a mixture. You know, I wanna, you know, I wanna experience the world. I don't want to just be locked down to one. And these other cultures aren't even having these same conversations, and they aren't in the condition that we're in now. If anybody can say that, it'll be those people who got themselves together as a people. Maybe you can venture off then, but we got to get ourselves right. If you're saying that I hate being around other black people, that means it's a little part of you that you hate. And when you get a lot of little parts of you around you, you get to see yourself and say, I don't really like myself, but you won't admit it. You won't say it. I would have never said I didn't like black people. But by my actions not being around us and not wanting to be around a lot of black people, I was doing it through my actions. But if you asked me if I had hate for myself, I would have told you no. If I would have asked that lady, do you hate black people? No, I don't hate them. I just don't like being around a lot of black people. That's an issue. That means a little part of you hate, and then when you see all that little parts of you build up, you start to see, okay, I don't like myself. Let me get some white to balance that part that I see. Let me get some white. Let me get some Asian. Let me get some black. Not black. Let me get whatever other races out there. Let me get that sprinkled in the mix. So we have to develop tribal cognizance. Israel, we were a tribal confederacy. We knew we had a common enemy. And we were willing to fight and join ourselves to fight this common enemy. But you go throughout our community, most people will not look at the enemy as the enemy. Or they say, well, no, it's not them. It's these people. Or no, it's not about that. It's the way you're looking at it, brother. Or it's this. We getting shot and they still having these conversations. Well, no, you gotta. Now, see, saying you gotta be a good person, or you gotta obey. You gotta be a law-abiding citizen, and nothing will happen to you. Ignoring the enemy while we're getting killed. So we got to take a serious look at ourselves and the condition that we're in, and see, are you willing to protect your brother? Do you feel anything when you see your brother get killed? Or is it just how it happens? That's just wait. When are we gonna, as men, when are we gonna step up and not allow these things to happen in our community? What is it going to take for us to say, okay, enough is enough. This is not happening in our community. And we got bystanders around, able men who are afraid of these individuals not doing anything about it. What is it going to take for us to wake up? Until we start seeing ourselves as a tribe, as a unit, as one, it'll never happen. If we continue to play this 21, it's all about me, I got to score, I made it, I ain't get shot, I ain't get killed, I ain't never got stopped by the police. Until we get out of this mentality, we're not going to make it to where the Most High is trying to bring us. So it's just time for us to wake up. And it's time for us to be willing to deal with the inconveniences of having a community. It's certain liberties we're going to have to give up. Other communities have no issues sleeping in the van. They have no issues looking after other people's children. I remember I worked for special needs for about 5 years. I worked with special needs students. We used to drop this, I think she was Hispanic, girl off in the community in an apartment complex. It was nothing but Hispanics in the apartment complex. Every time we dropped her off, it was someone different picking this little girl up. They had a community so tight that when we dropped her off, somebody was picking up. She wasn't going to be left on that bus. When are we going to get to that level where we looking out for one another like that? And willing to deal with that's the issue, willing to deal with the inconvenience of giving up certain liberties. So we can be free, so we can have our own land, so we can have autonomy. We're going to have to go through some inconvenient things, but right now we living fine. We got air-conditioned homes, air-conditioned cars. We got all these conveniences that we are not willing to give up for the greater good. So we got to ask ourselves, what are we willing to give up for us to really be a community and not just talking about it every Shabbat or throughout the week, but actually implementing things and actually being willing to move from where you are to another location just so we can be closer to one another. Even if you got to drive a little bit longer, even if you got to do something extra, what are we willing to do for that to happen? That's the question we got to ask ourselves. Next slide, please. We must be willing to deal with ourselves. Get over the 21 mentality and deal with the initial inconvenience of tribal cognizance. Inconvenience is a requirement for growth. You cannot have growth without inconvenience. So we got to get that out of our head. If you're not willing to inconvenience yourself in one way or another, you're not going to grow. They go hand in hand. Baruch atah Yahuwah melech haolam Baruch atah Yahuwah melech haolam Elohei Avatenu Elohei Abraham Elohei Yitzchak Elohei Yaakov. I bless the Most High. Thank the Most High for the time that y'all allow me to share my thoughts and what I'm seeing, and for us to go a little bit into this Torah portion. I bless you and thank you. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Blessed be the merciful King, Supreme Intellect of the universe, Yahweh, forefathers, Abraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov. Thanking the brother for his dissertation today and allowing us to see deeply within the side of ourselves who we are. You know, growth is imperative. And that's what he kept on speaking about. You know, a lot of times we don't take ourselves out of our comfort zone. And when you become out of your comfort zone, you actually grow. That's why a lot of people that travel, they're more wise and have more knowledge than others, because they take themselves out of what they're comfortable in and they go into other places and experience and learn. So we have to be the same way. This is like you said, you know, sometimes we have, Israelites are very racist against themselves. We have self-hatred. Israelites are this and that. Well, we the same people. We all the same. And we have to recognize one to another that we all the same and we all have the same experiences in life. So I thank the Almighty for the presentation. It was powerful, so I always expect something powerful from a brother. The Most High is excellent because we're leading up into a camping trip that will be very informative with a lot of speakers, such as Don Yosef, and such as my brother over here, Asa. We're gonna have a lot of blessings that's going to come out of this camping trip where we come together. We all stay together for 4 days. So all that self-hatred starts to go out the window because you're around your brother and sister, you're sweating, you're enjoying yourself, you're praising and worshiping. We just living together and we growing. And that's one of the most beautiful aspects of who we are as a people. What time do we have?
5:10.
All right, hallelujah. That was short, Yosef. All right, the Most High is excellent. Hey, brother, can we get them 2 songs again? And then I'll go into a little lesson. Hallelujah. Huh? Yeah, go ahead. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. And I'm going to go into some Ecclesiastes after he's done.